Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to pop on here real quick and share something with you since it is the new moon today, which is really interesting because normally I do the energy updates and then, I don't normally come on in the morning of the new moon. So this is interesting. I just shot a live update. So doing the live streams allows me more time to focus on other things. So I thought today, hey, why don't I pop on here this morning and share something with you guys that I think is extremely important when we're trying to understand our awakening process. So I'm sure by now you've done a lot of self-reflection in your own life, in your personal awakening, whether you had like a Kundalini awakening or you had a dark night of the soul or you had something that you couldn't explain. You're trying to figure out the road, right, to salvation or something to alleviate the pain and suffering of a sometimes rude and rough awakening. So I just want to share with you this morning something that has really helped me in my own journey here. And whether or not, whatever you believe in, that's up to you. But I want to share something here out of the Bible this morning, and it's in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17. So this is in regards to how I view spiritual awakening before and after. So I'll briefly read this. It says, "The new life. Now this I say and testify in the Lord, that you must no longer walk as the Gentiles do." Now the Gentiles are referring to just the normal everyday people. So we could say that this was the masses of current society, right? That you must no longer walk as current people in society or the masses walk, in the futility of their minds. They are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them. Now that is a little harsh, but rather than the ignorance that is in them, we could say the ignorance that is just around them, right? That they're just absorbed in this very egocentric, materialistic way of living. And that's how most of us are before we awaken, right? We are alienated from our spiritual selves. We are in our minds. And it's saying here that the mind is a futile thing. If we live in our mind, disconnected from our heart, it leads to a path of destruction. So this is saying here, also, they are darkened in their understanding, meaning they do not have the light from spirit to illuminate their spiritual or soul selves, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them or around them, due to the hardness of their heart. They have become callous and have given themselves up to sensuality, greedy to practice every kind of impurity. Now, the hardness of heart usually comes from some type of trauma. And this was very true for me. Early in my life, I was a very loving person, and until I suffered heartache and felt like betrayed. And that immediately hardened my heart and made me impure in my ways. But that is not, but it's saying here, but that is not the way you learned about Christ or the spiritual self, assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him as the truth is in Jesus, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. So what is going on here is the birth and the death of our old selves and the birth into the new self. So spiritual awakening in a nutshell is dying to the former way of how you lived. And many of us have had awakenings because of the love of God and the love of the angels. They have reached out, and many of us have awoken for that reason, because we were going down a path of destruction and away from our true selves and our true spiritual soul selves and our purity of our heart, right? All that is coming out as we die to the former way of being, which is in darkness, which is in alienation from a spiritual life, which is in alienation from God, which is living in ignorance, which is having a hard, callous heart. So, Kundalini awakening, dark nights of the soul, all of these things happen to us because we were going in a wrong direction and we were alienated from spirit. So I hope that helps you this morning here on the new moon. I hope that this helps you put some clarity into your mind of knowing why these things have happened to you in your own life. They have all happened for a higher spiritual purpose. And although we cannot see some of these things as they are happening, know that all is truly well and that these happenings in your life mostly are blessings in disguise, because we have to move through this old self, and all of that old stagnant emotion is very painful, and there's a lot of dark, dense stuff that we have to get out of the way so we can birth into the new spiritual self as children of God. All right, my friends, I hope you had a awesome week and have a great weekend. I will talk to you soon. Next week, I'll have some brand new featured edited videos up on the channel. This week, I was working hard on some new things for my Etsy shop. These are some things I just hand painted this morning. It's really cool. This has labradorite in it. These are going to hang, and I made all types of cool things. Here's a medallion with malachite, and it's hard to see in this light, but I've been working hard on my shop. I've been making tensor rings and all sorts of stuff. Here's a really cool one as well. You can't, it's hard to see like in this light, but these are going to hang. I hand painted the backs of these then with some copper gold like dust that I blew on the back, and I hand painted them. So these are going to be really cool once they're done, and they're going to be necklaces that you can wear here. You can see the labradorite shining in the light there. Super pumped about these. I've been working all summer on creating something new. So I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Peace, much love.